Balancing closeness and separateness in relationships, how to be close and how to be independent at the same time, how to be close together and how to be separate. I think this is important. Welcome and much love, Trav here. Important enough for me to work on, important enough to share as we keep diving into how to have better relationships. So once again, I'm not a guru. I don't have it all figured out. I'm just sharing what I'm learning as I'm learning it, because I think that's helpful and useful, and sharing the most important points and sparking a discussion. So if you have ideas on this, please share them in the comments. Contribute to the discussion, contribute to the community. That would be super awesome. I hope you get something from this. So, okay, why this is important. If you have too much space, too much separateness, too much independence, then there's no relationship, right? There's no time that gets spent together. But on the other hand, if you are too close, there's too little separateness, too little independence, then you spend all your time together, or too much time together, you start to strangle each other, you start to be claustrophobic, you start to actually have a negative impact. There's diminishing returns, and then after diminishing returns, there's straight negative. So you might end up in a place where you're actually so close that it's restricting each individual's growth, right? Because an ideal relationship, not necessarily ideal of what's fun, but of what is useful, is you're spending time apart learning a bunch of things, and you're coming back together to share, right? And relationships are based on other things than that, but if you spend too much time together, there's not enough time for learning, right? There's not enough time, then what do you even have to share with each other, right? So that's what we're going to talk about is, one, it's always good to start recognize for yourself where you tend to be in relationships. If you tend to be a very strong independent streak, maybe so strong that you don't necessarily let people get that close to you, or maybe on the other hand, you really feel very needy to have another person there and at all time, or like a lot of the time, right? And just to be fair and see where you're at. And I look at it and look back on my past and my current, and years that I took really to myself, and years before that where I felt that I was really needy for something, and I didn't have full independence, and then I had to separate to go on my own journey, go on my own mission, right? But this isn't for me necessarily to share everything about myself. I want to just get you thinking about where you're at, right? Okay, so what does it mean? And first, I want to give you another resource on this. Conscious Loving by Gay and Kathleen Hendricks, really good. They have these 7 steps to a co-committed relationship, but kind of better relationship. Step 1 is committing to closeness. Step 2 is committing to independence, basically. You have to be able to step away from each other and come back. That's the dance, right? You have to be able to leave and come back, go do your own thing, come back, right? If there's no coming back, there's no closeness, right? If there's no leaving, there's no independence, right? So you have to look at both things. And you have to make decisions based on creating some space at times, even if it's painful. It's not necessarily what you want. If it means leaving, going and doing your own thing, certain days of the week, certain weeks of the year, certain months of the year, certain years at times, really, right? That's commitment to independence, commitment to separateness. It doesn't mean you have to take that much time, but it means you have to consciously carve out time for yourself to learn and to review and digest and meditate, do your own thing, right? It might mean having a morning routine that is yours. It might mean having evening routine that is yours. And that is very important, right? Again, because if you don't, you're at risk of suffocating, smothering each other, and not only getting diminishing returns, but turning it into a straight up negative, perhaps even codependent relationship, right? On the other hand, you have to have closeness, and that's even step 1. And closeness does not just mean proximity, but it means willingness to share the things that you learn when you're separate, right? It means willingness to share your thoughts and share some of the things you've gone through, and willingness to be close, right? Closeness means more than physical proximity. It doesn't have to mean touch. It just means, it means really it's more about sharing than anything else. And it can mean sharing physical gifts, but it can mean sharing ideas and sharing dreams, sharing hopes, sharing struggles, sharing past traumas, sharing, and so on. So those are keys to developing closeness. And for some of y'all, closeness and separateness, some of them, one of them might be easier. Not only we looked at earlier what your tendency is, but one of them might be really hard for you. It might be hard for you to really carve out your own space just because you're so, maybe you're clingy and needy, right? Realistically, or it's just that you like the other person so much you can't get your own. It's hard for you to go take your own space, right? So maybe that's you, or maybe you've got this independent streak where it's important that you have all this time to yourself, and it's important that you keep these thoughts to yourself because only I know, it's only for me, right? I'm independent and I don't want to let people too close to me because I've been hurt, and maybe you're coming from there. So you need to look at not only what your tendency is, but which one you have to work on, because you balance, right? I mean, you're not necessarily truly independent if you don't have close relationships, right? So there's that, but it can't really truly be close if you can't separate as well. So it's something to think about. Like, look at your life. What can you do to create more closeness? That's something to comment below. What can you do to go out and create more closeness? What's also something you can do to create more independence and more space for yourself at the same time, right? So that's fun. And it's good. It's not always easy. It can be painful to let people close to you. It can also be painful to create separation. But once again, that's the dance. So hope you find that useful. At the least, this expands your thinking. It makes you look at all your relationships and important relationships in a new way. Would love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. Much love. Really appreciate you for making it this far and being here to grow with me. Have a lot of love for you, and I look forward to seeing how you grow and what you share and so on and so forth. And I'll be back tomorrow with a new video. So much to share. So peace out, much love, and speak soon.